Monday evening, everybody. Welcome back to another video. And this isn't going to be part of my splatter western vlog. That's a whole separate video. But I am making my way through that. This is about Beetlejuice 1988 and its sequel. I dare not say his name 3 times. But yeah, believe it or not, I actually watched Beetlejuice for the very first time right before I saw Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. There I go. But anyway, I really don't have the nostalgia for this movie because I always thought that Tim Burton was just way too weird for me. But I've seen a couple of his movies to say that I've been introduced to his work. Beetlejuice just wasn't one of those. But I just bit the bullet and finally watched this. So, this is the story of a newly dead couple, and played by Alec Baldwin. You can barely see that. And Gina Davis there. And they are haunting their own home, but a new family moves in, so it is up to them to scare this new family away. So they hire a bioexorcist called Beetlejuice, played by Michael Keaton, and very beloved character, but he seems a little bit out there. This dude's like a perverted freak. I mean, he always has like passes at Gina Davis, and very later on in the movie, Winona Ryder, who plays Lydia Deetz. So, questionable motives there, but I'll get into that soon. So anyway, the Deetz family, Catherine O'Hara is the stepmother, Jeffrey Jones, I think is his name, he's the father, and Lydia Deetz is Winona Ryder. So, Winona Ryder is a loner goth girl who has more time for the dead than the living. So she befriends these ghosts, and she really doesn't want them to leave the house. So it's up to Barbara and Adam, I believe. They just want to scare this new family away and claim their house. So they just summon Beetlejuice by calling his name 3 times. You get about not even 20 minutes of Beetlejuice in this film. And it's probably one of the most iconic characters in this film, because it is called Beetlejuice. I said his name more than 3 times again. You're going to get that a lot. So, he just looks over the afterlife and all that, and he kind of like swindles the couple to have them go to the other side and fade away permanently. But I do have to say, the afterlife stuff though it may be very weird, it's kind of cool how the deaths of these characters are portrayed, because there's some very macabre imagery in here. And this movie's goofy but extremely dark because it deals mostly with death. And that's pretty much Tim Burton's style. Some of the claymation looks a little bit outdated, but we're talking 1988 here. So it's a charming yet very dark movie. And for a first time watch, I actually kind of enjoyed this. Will it be in my regular rotation? I need a couple more watches to determine that. But it is still very weird. It's a very niche movie, and you either love it or you hate it. So ultimately, I would give Beetlejuice 1988 a B. So very fun watch, but hardly a new favorite of mine. So those are my thoughts on Beetlejuice. And naturally, I saw the sequel, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice 2024 AD. And right off the bat, this really developed like the Beetlejuice mythos, because it has a backstory behind Beetlejuice. So the backstory is he fell in love with like this beautiful woman by the name of Dolores, and she ended up being like a serial killer. So she ultimately poisoned Beetlejuice, and then she got disfigured horribly. And you get her resurrection scene in the very beginning, where it's just like all body parts that she just stables herself back together. Really cool use of a character, but a really bad use of a character. So I'll get into that. But this takes place 36 years after the original. Guys, the original one came out 1 year before I was born. So I was surprised I didn't watch this as a kid. But yeah. So Lydia Dietz is now a paranormal TV host, and she does it from her house, I believe. I think it's called Ghost Watch. I think. Somewhere on the lines of that. But she starts seeing visions of Beetlejuice again, and her producer or whatever has a huge crush on her, and she doesn't really like him at all, but she gets kinda greedy and agrees to marry him on Halloween. That really goes nowhere because it is overshadowed by what Beetlejuice did to her in the beginning, where he sort of married her, but he was taken away. Anyway, I'm rambling. So, this introduces the Dietz family when Jeffrey Jones dies of like a shark attack of all things. and they are reunited at his funeral. And that's when the nostalgia comes back in, because you're introduced to like this family again. But Winona Ryder now has a kid played by Jenna Ortega. And Jenna Ortega in this kind of felt sidelined in a way. There's way too many plot points in this film. For one, you get the reemergence of Beetlejuice, the introduction of a very cool villainess played by Monica Bellucci. You get the Jenna Ortega and the other kids' love story thing. You get the dad's funeral, and you get the events leading up to the wedding. There's just so much in here. I'm probably missing quite a few. But Beetlejuice in here was a lot more charming, I guess. But Michael Keaton definitely had a lot of fun with this, and he really brought that character back to life. So I do want to say this movie had a lot going for it, but just way too many storylines that end up going nowhere. I mean, I would have loved to have seen, like, Monica Bellucci be the main villainess. But then they introduced this whole Jenna Ortega relationship thing where the kid is already a ghost and he takes her soul. But then his defeat is so swift and easy. I'm like thinking, okay. So I really did enjoy this movie. Will it be a new favorite of mine? No. Because I still need to get a little bit more acquainted with the original one. But it is a solid watch if you are a fan of Tim Burton and Beetlejuice. Now, the only Tim Burton movies I've seen thus far were, of course, Batman '89, Batman Returns, Sleepy Hollow, and Beetlejuice. That's it. That's probably where I can cross the line, because a lot of his stuff is just way too weird. But overall, I would give Beetlejuice Beetlejuice a B as well. It's a decent watch, but hardly a new favorite. So those are my thoughts on Beetlejuice and its sequel. Whoever thought I'd be talking about a Tim Burton movie on my channel? There you go. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. It's showtime. Adios. Peace.